set now for the juvenile Phillies to 14 of them across the track. Even set on their way. End of the dance on the outside, broke a little sideways, broke KK, but meanwhile it's going to be Stein, but running on now, and Somali Lemonade's got 8 to make up. They come to the top of the lane, Stop Shopping Maria's got a lot left. Stop Shopping Maria goes on, Sweet Cat is right there, hard not to right, Royal Body is running on. Past the 8 ball way comes, Stop Shopping Maria for the run, still under a hand right as they come to the 16. Stephanie's Kitten coming out late. Yes, Stephanie's Kitten coming fast. Stephanie's Kitten, Stop Shopping Maria. Stephanie's Kitten's water. Watched the chances, broke smartly, but so did Terror from the Cape. On the inside, Sky Lantern, the Grey going well. If he can get through, Sky Lantern, the Grey looking for somewhere to run. Wide open. It's Terror from the Cape hanging on. Terror from the Cape tries to go all the way. On the outside now, here comes Flotilla in the light blue. Flotilla is absolutely flying. Watch the chances in there too. But Flotilla has gone right on by. And Flotilla is coming home to score. Flotilla has won it just about 2 in the end. It'll be Watch the Chances, Summer of Fun coming on to finish there.
Live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.
Good morning. Welcome to the Handicappers Report live on this Sunday morning from our Clare Court set, the last Sunday of the meet after a big last Saturday with the Jockey Club and some other stakes yesterday. Another nice day of racing at Saratoga. And as it is a Sunday morning, that means time for a guest handicapper as we've cycled in a few of them during the meet here. And happy to be joined by our friend Rich Migliore on this Sunday morning. Rich, good morning.
Good morning. Nice to be here. Beautiful morning. Cool. I love this last week in Saratoga. The weather turns just perfect.
It is absolutely gorgeous. And people have said it this year. It really did. It came down to the calendar. It was almost as the calendar turned, the weather turned.
Yeah, and it was immediate. I just love it. I think the horses appreciate it. Yeah, all these horses going by us on Clare Court, a little friskier this morning.
No, the last few days it has been noticeable. The activity back here, and as you say, the demeanor of the horses. It's been a lot of fun, certainly, as the weather has changed a little bit, but still great racing with a couple days ahead. Let's get some thoughts going back to yesterday, Jockey Club Gold Cup. I thought Max Player looked really, really good and validated what we saw in the Suburban.
Absolutely. And the one thing that stood out to me about Max Player was he has physically changed so much from 3 to 4. When we talk about horses making that step, that maturation from 3 to 4, that embodies it. If you took a picture of him as a 3-year-old and the picture of him right now, he's a completely different animal, bigger, stronger, tougher. And the key to his success is they've learned that his strength is his stamina. You saw Ricardo Santana purposely drive him out of the gate, actually rode him like he was going 6 furlongs the first 5 or 6 steps to put his mind in the game. And they found out he's a stayer. He's a horse with true stamina.
Yeah, and Steve Asmussen said in the winner's circle they really worked on him in the gate, and that showed yesterday as they went to the first turn.
Yeah, he was talking to me after the race about how well the horse would work going off the pole, meaning with a running start, and then going to the gate, the issues he's had. So they've finally got all the puzzle pieces to fit.
Yeah. let me, before we go on, talk a little bit about last week, because I'd like to get your opinion from the jockey side of things on the race that, if it's not the race of the meet, it's the race that generated the most conversation in the meet, the Forego last week, with Firenze Fire trying to take a chunk out of Yalpan. And I'm just curious, it's not a common occurrence, but certainly not unheard of. I've seen it a few times in my long time watching horse races, but I'm wondering, were you ever on either side of that equation?
Yeah, it was. As a matter of fact, there was a horse Phil Serpy training, Let Good Times Roll. I was going by him on a horse of Kieran McLaughlin's on the turf, and he reached over and he bit me on the ankle. He didn't go for my horse, he went for me. A few weeks later, I had a horse for John Kimball, Casey Tibbs. I'm going by the same horse, so I went further away from him, and he came at me again, got me underneath the arm. So I went by to Phil Serpy's barn next day. I said, Phil, that horse has bitten me twice. I feel a lot safer on his back. He let me ride him, and I won on him up here in Saratoga.
I like that. And the guys were talking in the control room, and I just asked if you guys are ready with that. Brian, are you ready with the replay? Yeah, going to pull up a replay of you winning up here, and I'd like some comments from you, because it's going to be you on 4-Star Dave, of course, the Sultan of Saratoga.
Yeah.
Give us some memories of 4-Star Dave.
Buried here in Clare Court, there's always mementos. You can come here in
Oh, you're
February,
right.
and
Yeah,
people
yeah.
always leave something. This day, he was so much the best this day, and the only time I ever was actually nervous riding him, it was for his 8th year in a row, and I knew the only way he could lose is if I made a mistake. And we wound up falling into a perfect trip, laid third, saved ground in the first turn, was able to put him out in the clear. And, he wasn't so easy. I had time to start patting on him and just telling him how much I cared about him. He was just a great old horse. And he had charisma. He would hear cameras clicking, and he would stop and pose, and he would not move. He would refuse to move until the cameras stopped clicking, and then he would move on. And people loved him here. It was so much fun being his rider, because we would go out at night for dinner, and people would be like, want to talk to you about 4-Star Dave? They still want to talk to you about 4-Star Dave, obviously, but it was a privilege to ride him.
Yeah, again, great memories of Saratoga, certainly. And Yalpan, Steve Asmussen trained, and yesterday Max player Steve Asmussen trained. I had him in here, and I was thinking of this on the drive in, so I didn't get to pull up Equibase and do the timeline for his career and your career, but we talked a little bit about when I had him in yesterday. Folks may not realize, but he started his career as a jockey, and he rode a little bit in New York. Did you overlap with Steve in the jockey's room?
Yes, so I had lost the bug. I was very good friends with Cash, Steve's brother, who had left for France by then. And when he was coming to New York to ride, Cash called me and said, my little brother's coming up to New York. Kind of keep an eye out for him. He was living with Richard DeStacio and his family. And he was very tall, and he fought it, hard. He rode some winners, though. Remember driving to the Meadowlands with him, giving him a ride to the Meadowlands. He didn't have a driver's license yet a couple times. But so I did get to ride with him, albeit his brief jockey career. Incredible what he's done. So proud of all of his accomplishments. And what we saw with Yalpan and Firenze Fire, I've never seen a horse, getting back to that briefly, go at another horse that persistently.
That was what made it so incredible. It was 10 strides, 15 strides where he just would not give up.
And incredible that he didn't trip himself. The athletic prowess of Firenze Fire. You might see that on National Geographic Channel, Wild Mustangs, two stallions fighting. I've never seen that with two riders on them, particularly in a setting like this, but it goes to show you, no matter how much we've bred them and trained them and domesticated them, there's still that wild animal instinct in there.
Yeah, no, it was, as I say, that was an incredible event that people have still, last night I had people talking to me about it, and I think that'll be a lasting memory for anybody who was here. And for folks who weren't here, they will say they were here to watch that one.
Well, it's legendary. That will go down in Saratoga lore.
Absolutely. All right, Rich, let's jump in and take a look at the Sunday card. And before we start, we should note, because, of course, you're on TV in the afternoon, and a lot of what you do when you're there, which I really appreciate, because I have no eye. I look at these horses and I think in the paddock, they all look fabulous. But you and the other analysts on the Fox show can point out the horses. I love that when you're looking at the horse flesh in the paddock and saying this one's ready, or out after they get out and warm up a little bit, point that out. And so you're giving your preliminary thoughts here, essentially, but things may change in the afternoon when you look. And as I say, I appreciate those thoughts from people who have the experience.
Well, thank you. And honestly, most of the horses look terrific in a place like Saratoga. Great horsemen, great horses. But I'll see something sometimes that makes me go in a different direction. So these are who I like on paper, but I tend to incorporate what I like on paper with what I see physically in the paddock on the racetrack. And a lot of times it's what's in character or out of character for a particular horse. If a horse always runs well looking a certain way and he doesn't look that way that day, I'll tend to gravitate away from them. So just so people know, if I give out a different pick this afternoon, it's because my mind changed from a physical perspective.
Yeah, which is perfectly fair. And as I say, I appreciate that, the experience of an eye that has seen those kind of things. You can point out when a horse is really kind of standing out, either in the paddock or on the track in the warm-ups. But let's get to some thoughts on Sunday afternoon. Oh, before we do that, let me remind you, Max Bet promotion and a pick 4 down at the Clubhouse Racebook today. I'll have the show pool bankroll, so you can check the website, capitalotv.com, for that to jump in potentially on the show. I don't know if I'll do as well as I did last week with the $2,900, but we will try. And over on the front side today, if you're coming to the track, the low roller contest. Go over to the 4-Star Dave area, sign up, a lot of fun. $40, $10 to the prize pool. You get a card with $30. You make $5 $2 win place and show bets during the afternoon. Again, the last shot at the low rollers. I'm going to take my shot. If you're coming up today, give it a go because it's a lot of fun. But Rich, let's jump in. Race number 1 today. Maiden special weights going for $100,000. You got to love that. These are 2-year-old fillies. They'll go 7 furlongs. What did you see in the opener?
Well, I was looking at it from a couple of different directions, excuse me. I wound up landing on the 8 horse as my top choice. I like her pedigree, being by honor code, starting 7/8 for Todd Pletcher, drawn towards the outside. I thought she made a lot of sense. Todd's done very well this meet with all of his horses, but his 2-year-olds in particular. So I wound up on her as my top selection. Luis Saez has had an incredible meet. Interestingly enough, Irad Ortiz has actually kind of crept back into that.
Yes.
The possibility that he can make a race of this into the last few days. Always fun to watch that. And then my second selection right outside of that horse, the 9, SOS, this is a price. Tommy Albertrani is a trainer whose horses get better with racing. I thought her first race was sneaky good, and I expect a much better run from her today.
By into mischief, so certainly a win early sire. And since you brought it up, I pulled up yesterday's recap. Luis Saez was 60, Irad Ortiz now with 54. So it's getting interesting as we get into the last couple of days.
We know these kids can win races in bunches.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch over the last couple of days. I have the opener 8, 7, 4, and 3. I also went to Alcina, the number 8 horse. Luis Saez on board, first time out for Todd Pletcher. Honor code so far this year, 50 first-time starters, 7 winners, 3 seconds, 3 thirds. So there's some life there on the sire side. But the dam produced a sibling called Arham that won its career debut for the very same connection. So I thought, again, win early on the breeding side. On the trainer side, as I like to say, a little nature and nurture there. Luis Saez on board, so I'm with you. I went with 8 on top. I used Hope and Fear in the second spot. Experience counts. The Belmont runner showed some speed in the career debut before fading a little bit, but has a bullet workout coming into this just recently. So I thought the experience and the workout and the speed shown in the debut tilted me in that direction. And then Sweet Lady Ivanka in the third spot. First out for Chad Brown by Candy Ride. Again, a good first out sire. Love to Run is kind of interesting too. There's a little win early breeding there, and they paid a lot of money. The debut I thought was okay and wanted to build on, so I wouldn't argue against the 3 either. For me, it was 8, 7, 4, and 3.
Well, I went 8, 9, 4. The 9, just a little bit of a long shot. Sometimes I think a little bit outside the box, but we saw Tommy come back with a second-time starter earlier this meet that won. His horses improved with racing. He doesn't crank them up to win first time.
Yeah. All right.
In the second race, we're going to go 5.5 furlongs on the turf. These races are so competitive.
Yeah.
Claiming tag, 40,000. Who'd you wind up on here?
I went 11, 5, 6, and 4. I went out to Sassy Melissa, Dave Dong trainee, that has a couple of starts at this level. One last time right up here at Saratoga, one of the starts. Ran second in that start, but a close-up second. So again, just seems to be on the numbers moving in the right direction. A little appreciation for the move up to Saratoga. Gets kind of the outside attack post position. Madam McLean in the second spot. I think the class move here is going to be very beneficial. Moves into a claiming race, and a conditional claimer at that, out of some allowance tries. Raced up here at Saratoga in the most recent start. Ran okay. I mean, ran 7th, but beaten less than 3 lengths. Was in the thick of things early. So again, I think the class relief can be beneficial for Madam McLean. And then Little Dutch Girl in the 3rd spot. Another one that tried this company last time and ran decently. So I think seems to, in the 3rd career start, have kind of found the comfort zone for Christophe Clement. So I'll throw the 6 in as well. I have it 11, 5, 6, and 4.
I think we're on the same thought process. I've just got it in inverted order. I went 6, 11, 5. I want to put in Little Dutch Girl on top for 2 reasons. I thought the race came down to her and the 11, Sassy Melissa. I'm not crazy about that post for Sassy Melissa. You've got to work out a trip and being, drawn wider. And the 3rd start off the layoff for Little Dutch Girl. So I went 6, 11, 5. So we're on the same thought process here.
I'll ask you, because as a handicapper, I like it, and I think handicappers have thought about this for years and years. 3rd start off the layoff is always one where you kind of draw a little star. As a jockey, did you find that to be true?
Absolutely. It seems like sometimes a horse comes back off the layup. They need the run. It stresses them a little bit, and they almost maybe take a little bit of a step back in the 2nd start, and then they really come, on in the 3rd start and show their best.
Yeah, it does seem to have been proven out over the years. And as handicappers, as I say, I think we like that angle. So it's good to hear that the horsemen are thinking the same direction. 3rd race this afternoon, a maiden 40 claimer. They're scheduled on the grass at 8.5 furlongs.
Yeah, and it's, to me, I couldn't get past the favorite. I try to look, when I look at a race and I see a big favorite, I'm looking for how can I beat this horse. And I just couldn't come up with a reason to pick against the 7 Coalition Building. He's 6-5. It's Chad Brown taking, a minor drop in class, but he ran so competitively for 75,000. I don't see why he shouldn't be very tough here for 40. The 4-horse Never Content. Sometimes I think horses' form gets a little muddied up. So this horse ran in the dirt last time because it came off the grass, and people, the first impression they're going to see is 5th by 20, but his turf races are all good enough to be competitive here. And then the 8-horse Checks and Balances. He was claimed from Chad Brown, came back with a poor run, kind of regrouped, has the time off. I like the work pattern. I don't look at times it works. I look at spacing of works, and I thought this horse could make a lot of sense.
Yeah, Gary West is a guy who says it's not how fast they work, it's how they work. He's big on, don't get overwhelmed or dazzled by the bullets of the fast workouts, because you want to know if they were in company and how they did it.
And who was on the horse? Yeah. Was it a jockey that weighs 115 pounds? Was it an exercise rider that weighs 145 pounds? What was the trainer's intention? Sometimes trainers want horses to go slower. You'll see a half and 15. Well, the horse works slow. That was by design. So there's so many factors that when you look at workouts, you have to kind of incorporate.
Yeah, absolutely. 3rd race for me, 7, 4, 8, and 7, 4, 10, and 8. So I'm kind of in the same ballpark here. Like you, I was looking for an alternative. I just couldn't get by off the 3rd place finish last time against Better. So a little further drop today for the Chad Klarovich runner. So I tilted in that direction. Never Content, as you say. I think the race last time is kind of a draw the line through it. And that was at the 40 level, but this horse hasn't tried the 40 level on turf yet, so I think getting back to grass at this level, Jose Ortiz sticks on board. 3rd spot for me, I put Closer to the Heart. Tried a little bit better last time, going a sprint distance. It was an okay race. The 2-turn race, 2 back down at Pimlico on the grass, certainly isn't a confidence builder. I just thought overall at the Grand Motion train, he had thrown enough races that if we get a better effort for this one, I can see Closer to the Heart being in the mix and maybe at a little bit of a price as well. I'm not super confident there, but as I say, I think you'll get a little value on that one potentially. So in the 3rd for me, I have it 7, 4, 10, and 8.
I like it. The Grand Motion, I was looking at that horse, and again, when they start getting close to the outside, I tend to shy away sometimes, particularly on turf. Not on dirt, but on turf for sure. The 4th event, 6 Furlongs allowance events for fillies and mares. I thought this was a very competitive race. I wound up going to the outside. Where'd you go?
Same thing. I'm 7, 5, 6, and 2. I went Song River, Luis Saez on board for Cherie DeVoe, and I just, she has a string down at Ellis, and I think she herself has been at Ellis for much of the meet. She had a winner at one point early in the meet, and she wasn't in the winner's circle because I think she was still down in Kentucky. But this horse that started the summer down at Ellis and ran a good close-up second has been up here at Saratoga for a while now, and you look at that August 11th Bullet workout, that kind of jumps off the page at me. So the close-up second last time at Ellis, the Bullet workout back the middle of last month, I just tilted in that direction, but our friends at West Point Thoroughbreds have Lady Traveler in here. Stepping out of Stakes Company for Dale Romans, this one also, the workout kind of jumps off the Bullet workout, I thought was interesting. Has some early speed, as we saw in the last couple of races, and the Bullet, you would think this horse will be prominent throughout, and again, gets a little move out of Stakes Company that may be beneficial, and Rivendell in the third spot. This one to me was just intriguing for Bill Mott in that in 6 career starts so far has only been on the turf. Now they tried the dirt, but the last workout I thought was okay down on the dirt at Belmont. So I just thought that horse was a little bit intriguing with the scenario there. For me, 7, 5, 6, and 2.
Yeah, I went up 7, 5, 4, the 7 Song River. I like the outside draw for her. She's got speed, but it allows the rider to let her get into the race the right way. You're getting Luis Saez, the 5 Lady Traveler. I like the turn back and distance for her. I like the sharp work tab. But when we talk about workouts, I'm sure Tammy Fox, Dale Roman's partner, who weighs about 100 pounds, has been working her, and they all work fast for her. But I also did like her. And the 4 Off We Go, I thought if things got really heated on the front end, she seems more of a closing sprinter type, showed high speed going long but turning back. Her last 2 starts, I think she can come from off the pace, and this is her second start off a freshman.
And just before we go to the break, I mentioned the jockey standings. I'll give you the top 5 in both jockeys and trainers. Jockeys, Luis Saez with 60, Irad Ortiz with 54. So again, that's getting close over the last couple of days. Jose Ortiz has 49, Joel Rosario 43, and Tyler Gaffleone 33. And on the trainer side, Chad Brown has it wrapped up essentially with an 11-win lead. 39 to Todd Pletcher's 28, Mike Maker 24, Steve Asmussen 17. Although a number of grade 1s in there certainly helps that total look a lot better. And Christophe Clement with 16. So they're your top 5 in both categories. We'll take a break. When we come back, handicapper support for the last Sunday of Saratoga will continue. Stay tuned.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the capital region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Welcome back to the Handicapper Support on this Sunday morning, Sunday, September 5th. Seth Merrow and guest handicapper Rich Migliore. Rich, you believe it? It's September 5th already.
Can't believe it, but
everybody I ran
into
into over the weekend is like, where'd it go?
And as they get older, it seems like it goes faster and faster.
You're exactly right, unfortunately. 5th race today at Saratoga. Maiden 50 claimers going a quick 5.5 on the grass.
I had a little bit of a different idea here. I really don't trust the 7-5 morning line favorite from the Chad Brown barn at 7-5 Milestone Pavement. I mean, he has an entry, a first-time starter trained by Jorge Abreu. Maybe she's the one that's warranting the 7-5. I went to the 9 horse. This might be the one. And I think you have to go back and watch replays. And she was well beaten last time, but she broke 12 of 12. She made a right-hand turn out of the gate. Horses have a tendency to run to empty space, particularly young, inexperienced horses. And then she kind of rushed up, showed much too much speed, kind of ran off with Dylan Davis. She was claimed. I like the barn change to Ray Handel. I thought she showed enough ability in her first race that if they've got her able to settle just a little bit more, I think she has more than enough ability to win this race at a much better price than your favorite. So I went with the 9. I went right to her inside. This lady is the law. I like her getting back to the turf, but sprinting back to the turf for Linda Rice. And then the 3 horse, I thought Archer Fire, she's coming basically has the same look to me as the 1 Milestone Payment. She's 12-1 morning line. She's dropping out of a maiden allowance where she's shown speed. Similar buyer figures. I thought there was more value there.
Yeah, I just kind of went with connections, I will admit, with Chad and Klarovich going maiden special weight to maiden claiming. The other half of the entry, as you say, I'm not sure I have a whole lot of confidence in the horse they bought for 180 and start for 50.
Sure.
So I'm a little bit more leery on that one. But with the class move, the potent maiden special weight to maiden claiming move, Chad Brown was having a great meet. So I tilted in that direction. But I, as you alluded to, I don't think the buyers make this horse any kind of a standout. So I'm not arguing against anybody going in a different direction. I put the 8, This Lady Is the Law, right underneath. I thought the race 2 back, a lone turf effort, kind of indicates this horse. Now, first time turf for a tag, because last time dropped in for a tag, but was on the dirt. But first time for a tag on the turf. I think this horse maybe gets back to or improves on what we saw a couple of starts ago. And then I'm Way Too Cool for You, also making the potent maiden special weight to maiden claiming move, comes in from out of town off a nice little workout down at Pimlico last time. Ricardo Santana, who's having a pretty good meet, jumps on board, has some early positional speed, so it could be a player from the get-go. And again, making that potent class move and coming into town to take the shot up at Saratoga. I thought that was intriguing as well. So for me, the 1 entry, 8, 5, and 9.
This is the first race we kind of really both gravitated away from each other's opinion, but I thought this was so wide open. I was looking for more of a price, maybe a little chaos ensues.
Yeah, as I say, I'm not arguing at all against somebody taking a shot against the favorite, and I think if you're playing the horizontals, you want to, maybe use the favorite, but have a couple other options in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The 6th event, a mile and a 16th on the inner turf, always about trips, those races, claiming 40,000. Where'd you wind up?
I have it 9, 10, 11, and 4. I put Clever Fellow on top. Dropped down to the 40 level last time. Now, it was a 40 maiden claimer, so now steps in against winners, but at this N2L condition, still should be easily in the comfort zone. And I thought the win last time kind of indicated the horse is in good form, continued good form. Really, the whole career has been good form. Has only been off the board once in 7 starts, but finally broke through with the move into the claiming rank. So I think he's going to fit nicely with this group this afternoon. Risk Manager in the 2nd slot. Claimed a couple starts back for a 50 tag, went into a kind of a salty starter allowance in the follow-up. I think now returns probably to the comfort zone this afternoon, so I'll put that one underneath. And then in the 3rd spot, Caribbean Gold for Mike Maker, Jose Ortiz on board. Another one that broke the maiden last time for the 40 tag, although it had a couple of opportunities prior to that. But that last maybe signals this horse just appreciates the cooking up here at Saratoga. Maybe that's beneficial. It was that 3rd start back. That may have moved the horse a little bit forward as well, but a little bit of speed from the outside in that nice race. That horse is playable to me as well. 9, 10, 11, and 4.
I'm right with you with 9, 10. I like Clever Fellow for all the same reasons you did. Risk Manager makes a lot of sense to me as well. I've got a crazy idea for a long shot that I am going to use in my supers and tries.
I'm writing it down.
And that's the 6 horse, Magnificent Chrome. This horse's Damn Magnificent Song was a grade 1 winner on turf. It's all turf pedigree as far as I'm concerned on the female side of the family, and he's finally getting to the turf. Maybe this horse jumps up at a huge price and rounds out your try or super.
I like it. Looking at 50-1 on the morning line, and those are the kind where justifies taking a shot on a horse like that, because trying something completely new, and if you can look up in the breeding and find a little something that's not on the page, that can get you a price like that.
And lower profile connections, but I just purely on pedigree, I'm saying I'm going to give this horse a little bit of a try, particularly underneath. I actually thought about putting the 11 Caribbean Gold on my ticket 3rd. Mike Maker was so hot at the beginning of the meet, and it's just really gotten cold recently.
Yeah, no, he was off to the hot start, and it has cooled out, which is not necessarily unusual. You know, you go through some conditions and whatnot.
Horses run hard, they go through the conditions. No, absolutely, and that's no knock on him. Obviously, a tremendous horse trainer.
Seventh race this afternoon, Stakebred Maiden Specials. They'll go 5.5 furlongs.
Yeah, I wound up going with Todd Pletcher, first-timer again. I think Todd's 2-year-olds have been really running. Ran a really nice cold Annapolis, first-time starter on the turf yesterday. Classy edition, the two $550,000 2-year-old in training purchase. So she's already shown ability. The difference between yearling sales and 2-year-old training sales. Yearlings, they haven't even been broken to the saddle yet. Now at least you get to see them kind of work out, if you will. So I like Classy Edition off of her basic tipped-in work at Timonium, and Todd Pletcher, the 4, another first-time starter. I like the fact that Mike Deeney is sending this horse up to Saratoga. He's based at Monmouth. This is a New York bred. She's been training down there, but I like the steady work tab. And then the 6-horse Summer Show from Mark Hennig. I really like this horse's work tab as well. And I thought her pedigree could point out that she could be precocious.
I'm always a Mike Deeney fan, so I have that one down at the bottom of my mix, but certainly Mike Deeney at Tampa in the wintertime, I'm totally zoned into him. But a few years ago, he trained a horse named Merrow, so I got to know him a little bit. He was up here at Saratoga. The horse was down, I want to say maybe it was at Monmouth, but he had some horses running up here that year, and I said, where'd the name come from? And he said, it's Gaelic for merman, the opposite of a mermaid.
Okay.
I said, well, I did not know that. But
that's great.
Like 3 weeks later, the horse won and paid $3.40, but it was fun to see the horse get it done. I, like you, went with the Todd Pletcher runner. 2, 13, 1, and 6 for me. But as I say, the Mike Deeney horse at the bottom of the mix, if the 13 doesn't make it in, which frankly is probably likely that it won't. We're 3 deep on the AE list, but I just thought, you know, I'm going to take a look at that if the horse does get in. But Classy Edition, we're 10.1 before that sale, that May sale, facing sale. There's a sibling called Newly Minted that won the first 2 starts of the career. First 3 starts of the career, actually. 2 of those were stakes, however. So, Newly Minted, very precocious. Another sibling called New Girl in Town won the career debut, won 3 of the first 5. So, I think there's plenty of win early on the breeding. And as I said earlier, a little nature and nurture. The trainer can have them ready. Sure. So, this one does seem kind of logical to me. Second slot, I went up to Chiara, first-time starter for Jim Bond. That's working well. By Golden Sense, that's a sire I like quite a bit with first time, debuting runners, but again, we'll need quite a bit of help to get in with the scratches. Classic Lynn's in the 3rd spot for me. Experience does count, and I thought this one put in a decent little debut effort to maybe build on and move forward from as well. So for me, 2, 13, 1, and 6. If the 13 doesn't get in, we'll use the 4. And before we move on, Rich, I want to ask you, because another thing I was thinking about as I was handicapping and knew we were going to have you in, race like this with some first-time starters. As a jockey, is it much more of a puzzle first-time starter? Because I asked that, horses that have 5 or 6 starts, either you may have ridden the horse, may have been on in the morning, but at the very least, you get to look at the PPs and kind of, get the modus operandi of the horse, so you can pull up replays. But with first-time starters, again, does that present much more of a puzzle?
Well, it really does. I mean, I used to like to work horses that I was going to ride, and I would make an effort if I knew I was going to ride a first-time starter. Let me give her a test spin or him a test spin. You just want some familiarity, what their habits are, how they act, how they're going to be even in the post-braid, hooking up to the pony. Everything's brand new to them. When John Kimmel was really rolling, winning with a lot of 2-year-olds, I would go to Fair Hill and work all the 2-year-olds for the months leading up till they came to the main racetrack, so I would know them intimately, and I always felt like that was a big edge.
Yeah, you'd have to think, because again, as I say, when there's a resume there to look at, you have a lot more to go on, and maybe you've ridden the horse, but with the first-time starters, and every horse has its little quirks and tendencies, so if you haven't had any experience, you don't have any idea what those might be.
Well, and you can't go to a replay center and watch, because they haven't run. You rely heavily on the connections. You talk to the exercise rider, the groom, the trainer, but always better to have that personal interaction.
Absolutely. And speaking of the replay center, that's another thing I was thinking of. Would it have been a bonus to you to have today's technology as far as replays? Would it have been a lot easier and more beneficial and given you a little bit more of an edge if you could, in your day of riding, go home at night and pull up any replay you wanted?
Absolutely. Back when I started, you would have to go to the stewards and get permission, and then have to set up an appointment where they would put the film on in the steward's office for you. So most of the time you didn't have the ability just to go look at horses. I remember when I rode Wild again in the Meadowlands Cup, I could look at the form, but I didn't know anything about the horse because I had never visually seen him run. And, again, the trainer was like, well, you got to ride him hard. He was a horse that didn't want to be ridden hard. And I didn't know that until the race. He wound up winning. But, I often think back to that. If I could have went back and watched how Pat Day rode him at Oaklawn, how much differently I would have rode him, and he would have won easier.
Yeah, for folks who are kind of new to the game, and I think a lot of people that watch us during the summer are new to the game, they don't remember the days where there was actually the replay center. Oh, you didn't go to your computer at night and kind of just, hey, I want to watch the 5th from Canterbury from 2 weeks ago. You went to and you kind of had to go and tell them what race you want, and they would load in the videotape.
And even from a standpoint for your form, wanting to watch yourself, how you can improve, be more streamlined, be stronger, ride better races. And jockeys are one of the only athletes that don't have a coach. You're in the locker room with the guys you're competing with. Now, guys will tell you so much when you start because they want to make it as safe as it can be out there, but they don't want to make you so good that now you're going to continually take their mounts. So it's a funny dynamic. Every other athlete has a coach. Jockeys don't have a coach.
But, yeah, I will give you credit because I know you've taken time since you've retired to kind of mentor some younger jockeys, which I think is again, just great for the game because you're making sure they're going to be safe out there, but it also gives them the experience of a veteran to rely on.
Well, if you can have them avoid making mistakes that you had to learn the hard way, and just little things. Sometimes it's a little adjustment on something you're doing. I think Irad Ortiz Jr. is one of the best riders I've ever seen. I mean, tremendous rider. No telling the records that are going to fall at his feet. Sometimes he tends to override. He gets a little excited. I get he's still a young guy, even though he's winning big races. I'll go and talk to him. Irad, horse is doing everything you ask of him. Don't have to override him. You appreciate the effort they're giving you.
Yeah, as I say, it makes a difference to have a experienced guy kind of looking over their shoulder, giving them some ideas. All right, let's jump into the 8th.
We'll get the 8th race going. 7 furlongs here, another maiden 2-year-old race. And where'd you wind up?
This is a fun race. I went 2, 3, 1, and 5. I'm taking a little shot with the Asmussen first start 8-1 from Stone Street and Company by Curlin, so you have a little bit of breeding there. But this is a sibling to Accelerate, a horse folks may remember won the 2019 Big Cap. Started the career with a 2nd, a 4th, and a 3rd, but then ripped off 3 wins and starts 4, 5, and 6. Very talented runner. So I think there's some win early here. If they can win, typically I'm looking for 1st, 2nd, or 3rd start, but again, it's Accelerate and hit the board in 2 of the first 3, and then those 4th, 5th, and 6th start wins jump off the page at me. And they paid a little bit of money for this one. I think the workouts, nice steady string of workouts. It is Steve Asmussen, who he is a puzzle because sometimes they're out just to kind of get the run, it seems like, the first time, and his horses often improve in the 2nd start. But he's also a pretty good first out guy. So you're doing a little bit of guesswork with him. But I'm going to take a little pop with the 8-1 here. 2nd slot, I'll go with Jester Calls No Joy. Again, experience counts. This one ran well for Todd Fletcher in debut. Had the lead, wound up 2nd as the 9-5 favorite. So this will probably be the one to beat. Certainly is going to be the one to take money. And I thought Chasing Artemis was a player as well. We're 10.3 before that May sale. Daredevil's pretty good with first-time starters, 48 of them so far this year, 5 wins, 5 seconds, 6 thirds, so a little bit of win early breeding on the top, and the dam produced a sibling called No Mo Lady that won 2 of the first 3 starts of the career, including the debut, and it is, again, a trainee from Mark Hennig who can have them ready. A couple of years ago down at Gulfstream, he ripped off, it's probably 3 or 4 years ago, ripped off some nice first-time starters that got it done. So I'm going to tilt for that at that one at 15-1 as well. I'm going to box up a little exact in here with mine if the prices hold up. 2, 3, 1, and 5.
I wrestled with this race. 7 furlongs.
It's that kind of race.
It really is. And I kind of tend to lean away from the first-time starters going 7 races. It's just a tough debut.
Yeah, you're right.
I looked long and hard at the 2 Malibu Kendall. Being by Curlin, Steve trained Curlin. They are so proficient. Even when their horses maybe need a run, they're still very professional. They usually break well. They're good in the post parade. They're good at the pony. And I would tell people, when you're at the track and you're watching a post parade with first-time starters, see how they go to the pony. Because if they're really shy about it and they're flighty and they don't want to hook up with the pony, they haven't been schooled as well as maybe some of their contemporaries. So you want to look at horses that are very well schooled. I think they have an advantage. You always see Steve's horses are extremely well schooled. I wound up landing on the 5, Lily Bear. And the reason being is I thought this horse ran extremely well chasing Echo Zulu, who is your favorite in the spin-away today. And she was chasing her wide, and she wasn't badly beaten. And Phil Gleaves is a terrific horseman. I think his horse has improved with the race. If this horse has any step forward in him, I think she's going to be very tough. And you're going to get a bit more of a price because, you know, Todd Pletcher is a higher profile trainer. He's going to attract more attention. I have his horse, the 3, Jester Calls No Joy, in the 2nd spot. Both horses with experience. Both horses have run. They have that foundation, if you will. And then I went to another Todd Pletcher, the outside, Amani's Image. Watching her race, I felt like she was a horse very unsure of herself first time, running what I call it the emergency brake on, a little bit in stops and starts. I do think she can take a step forward with that experience. I went with horses that have had a race under their belt.
And a win by Lily Bear would maybe tend to flatter Echo Zulu a little bit later on, too. Not that that one needs much flattery after the career debut. And you mentioned, and I will ask you this as well, from a jockey perspective, watching the Fox broadcast over the past couple of years, you have mentioned it, Maggie mentions it every once in a while, and it's something that it was completely foreign to me, but now I'm kind of keying into it. How they warm up when they come out on the track after the post parade, staying close to the pony, if they're giving a vigorous warm up. And so I'll tip my cap to you guys and say, keep it up, because as I say, the physicality, they all look great to me, and I don't quite pick that up, but the more information I find out about how they warm up, that's something I think anybody can kind of make notes on and maybe pick something up and get a little extra at the windows, perhaps.
Well, it usually leads to me jockey intention. When you want a horse to leave the gate and on his feet and be forward, you warm them up more vigorously. You'll leave the pony so they'll pull. They get into the bridle more. I don't believe in, I've seen guys with nervous horses just kind of jog them over the gate. I don't believe in that. I think motion relieves tension when you've got a horse that is, you know, kind of pent up and nervous. Let them have a nice canter to the backstretch, then let them let down and walk, kick your feet out and walk them back to the gate. But at least they'll expel a little bit of that nervous energy, kind of let their air out a little bit, and then let them settle. But I don't like when I see guys just jog them to the gate.
Yeah, as I say, keep that up, because I find that very interesting. And as I say, I think that's something that anybody can pick up on maybe and add a little bit of value maybe at the windows, and that's what it's all about. All right, we'll take another break. When we come back, we will wrap up the Sunday card at Saratoga. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the West. I'm Scott Varley at Saratoga's latest and greatest high-rise luxury condo. Starting in the mid-5s, every condo here has 2 bedrooms and 2 baths and upgrades just like this. Check out these oversized private balconies. We also have a gym, a private lounge, and get this, a heated parking garage. To make a reservation for your private condo at the West, call or text me. I'm Scott Varley at 518-281-6808.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report, and perfect timing, because as we mentioned earlier, they are vigorous out on clear court this morning, and there one goes by. And it really has been noticeable since the weather changed. There's been a conglomeration of horses back there and clearly enjoying the nice, cool Saratoga weather.
They love the cool weather. Horses do so much better when it's cold. We struggle when it gets too cold. They love it.
Yeah, no, it's been clear over the past few days. All right, let's jump in with the 9th today. It's a starter allowance at the $50,000 level. They will go a mile on the grass.
I thought this was the toughest race of the day to handicap. I thought these horses were very evenly matched. I wound up on the 2 baseline drive. I like Jose Lascano getting the mount, horse making a first start for Mark Hennig. He's drawn towards the inside. I think it's very important on the inner turf, inside position.
Yeah.
If I'm between 2 horses, I'm going to lean towards the one drawn closer to the inside. So I wound up on the 2 baseline drive, 1 command point. Second, this is a horse that rallied into very slow paces at Arlington, gets a good inside draw, first start for George Weaver. And then because I thought he looked about the same as everybody else, and it's just a crazy long shot idea. Again, a horse I don't think can win, but maybe I will play around with a little in supers and tries, is the 10 horse Clatta's Run. I thought the horse ran very well last time, was extremely wide around the far turn. Runs at risk again with a bad draw. You're getting a low-profile rider in Benji Hernandez, who is capable, hasn't gotten many good opportunities here. But I thought this horse was a little bit sneaky to get a nibble.
I'm rooting for him. I have it in my mix as well because our friends at Bonaventure are sponsors here, and I've had Dan Collinson from Bonaventure a couple of times and talking to them. It's just been a rough meet for them trying to get races with the turf runners. They have had they have had 5 horses entered that the races moved off the turf and they had to scratch. So it's been a tough run. So I'm certainly rooting for them. Hope he gets back to that Tampa Bay form, which was great earlier this year. And I think off of, as you say, the race last time, which I think was pretty good, that 20-1 looks a little juicy to me there. So I'm certainly going to have Clatta's Run in the mix. But I took a little pop with the 4 on top. Ho, 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 ho. Little positional early speed, has been in this type of company in the last couple of starts. I thought the race 2 back at Belmont was okay. The move up to Saratoga was a little bit disappointing. So the negative horse for a course, I don't know. But I'm going to hope that this horse gets back, rebounds to what we saw 2 and 3 starts back, and maybe tries to steal it. And like you, I was looking for some horses on the inside because I have the 10 and the 12 at the bottom of my mix, and I kind of was looking towards them. I thought, I'm going to go more inside. So ho, 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 ho on top. Baseline Drive, who you had in there as well on the more inside. Hasn't been seen since June at Gulfstream, but that was a pretty good run. Again, moves into the barn of Mark Hennig, and if this one comes back running off the most of the summertime break, I think is very playable. Clatta's Run and Lucy's Cakes Fly could be a little bit interesting as well, but again, stuck on the outside. I'm not quite sure, but you have Jose Ortiz, who would expect the horse maybe with some early speed to get a decent position going into the first turn, but will need it. In the 9th for me, 4, 2, 10, and 12.
Okay, I thought there could be a hot pace in there, and I like ho ho ho, but I just thought that maybe he's going to get caught up a little. And
you could be right, but it's one of those situations where I'm hoping it's one of those races where you're anticipating the hot pace on paper, and then ho 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 gets a lengthened head and nobody challenges.
Well, jockeys read the racing form too, and they go, "Wow, there's a lot of speed," and everybody comes out looking at each other, and they go slow. So I hear you. I've seen that happen quite often.
Yeah.
The 10th race, we're going a mile and a furlong here, Saratoga for Allowance Company. What do you like?
2, 9, 1, and 3. I went Mystic Knight on top for Chad Brown. The nice Allowance victory 2 back at Aqueduct, that was in March. Then a May try in this kind of optional claiming company. So hasn't had a whole lot of starts this year, obviously, in a break since May. Maybe that raises a little bit of a concern, but what we've seen so far, I think you have to tilt towards this one, maybe on at least a little bit of a buyer's edge in this group. So I tilted in that direction. Superfecto, Luis Saez on board. Horse again with some positional early speed. Couple of good tries at this level. One of them last time right up here at Saratoga, where the horse ran a good second after having shown some of that early speed. And then Portos in the 3rd spot, the Pletcher runner. Again, also has had the summer off at this point. But I think what we saw before taking a little bit of a break was good enough to put that one in the mix as well. Danny California on the win 2 back certainly has to be considered as well. Have that one down to the bottom. I have 2, 9, 1, and 3.
Yeah, another competitive race. I wound up on the 2 as well, Mystic Knight. Chad Brown, mile and a furlong here. I think it fits the conditions perfectly. I like drawing towards the inside 2-turn races. So the 2, Mystic Knight. I thought the 6, You're to Blame. Where'd that race come from going a mile and 1/8? 2 back. Mile and 3/4 was too far. He didn't run at all that day. I thought if he could get back anywhere close to the race 2 back, I had to give him a pretty long look at it. His 8-to-1 morning line odds. And then I was with you at the 9-horse 2 Superfecto. It just makes a lot of sense. Should be very forwardly placed with Louis Saez. Horse's good speed and mile and 1/8 suits. His last race was terrific.
Yeah, I didn't quite know what to do with You're to Blame. I mean, yeah, that race 2 back is absolutely good enough, but will we get that? I wasn't quite sure, but that one scares me quite a bit.
Yeah.
All right, the feature today, the 11th, the Spinaway, the Grade 1 Spinaway, $300,000 up for grabs for the 2-year-old fillies going 7 furlongs, and this is just going to be a fun race with some horses in here that have monster potential, including Echo Zulu, but I had Norm Cassian yesterday, and he has some confidence in the Mary Lou Whitney stable runner, Pretty Birdie, who already has a Saratoga Stakes win, and to see the Mary Lou Whitney Silks get it done up here this year, that was kind of nice. But how do you see the Spinaway?
Well, that was a great way to start the meet, to see Pretty Birdie win the Schuylerville. I couldn't get past Echo Zulu.
Yeah.
What I saw on her debut was electrifying. Watching it live that day, I was like, this is special. Sometimes you'll see horses drawing off, winning by open lengths, but it's because everybody else's stride is deteriorating behind them. You could visually see her dig down, find another gear. I think she's extraordinary. She's my best bet of the day. She's going to be a very short price. No way around that. I was going to pick Pretty Birdie second, but sometimes what happens when a horse that has speed like Pretty Birdie and they're chasing a horse that I think is superior, it kind of tends to tug it out of them a little bit, and they get tired just chasing a fast horse. Yeah. I thought maybe somebody crazy could be right to come for second. We've seen Dallas Stewart. He's got the 8 Sequist, who won at Colonial Downs, going 5 furlongs, but closed. So she showed the ability to take kickback, dirt thrown in her face, and finish. Now her speed figure was low, but that's the kind of horse that can clunk up and maybe round out your exacta, because she's not going to be involved early, and they know how important it is to get black type placing. It enhances a filly's value. I picked her second, West Point Thoroughbreds, and then Pretty Birdie just made a lot of sense. She's a very good filly.
Yeah, I went 3, 5, 7, and 2. I went with the logicals in here. Echo Zulu was, every summer you get the 2-year-old performances that leave you saying, wow, and this was one of them on this summer of 2021. So I'll go in that direction, but Pretty Birdie certainly, and as I say, Norm Cassie had a lot of confidence in this one. I'm going to be interested to see, or will it play out the way you see, which at the 7 furlongs in particular, I can see that happening as well. But I'm interested to see what these two, when they come down the stretch. Dream Lift, I thought, ran a pretty good debut effort as well for Robertino Diodoro, so she's interesting to me. But Sequest, if that price holds up, I may.
Well, you know how sometimes I know when I was riding, sometimes if I rode a long shot in a stake, you ride to get a check. Because if you go all in trying to win, your run gets drawn out and the horse gets tired. You sit back there trying to be second or third. Sometimes you get that run. And as somebody now handicapping or gambling on horses, I've made some scores by trying to look at it that way and got lucky. Again, I have no false illusions. There's some very good fillies in here.
And if you're trying to find a little value with Echo Zulu, you got to, if you're looking for a cold exacta, you want to look for a little price like that underneath. So, yeah, I like it.
And we're going to finish out the nightcap, 5.5 furlongs on turf, allowance conditions for New York Reds, and I thought this was a war.
Yeah, it's a tough way to wind up the afternoon. 6, 5, 1, and 4 for me, though. I went King Angelo on top, had Phil Serpian yesterday, talking about his Queen's Plate win.
What a nice
crazy,
win that was.
Yeah, but we talked about King Angelo yesterday, and, he certainly was happy with the performance the other day. I think he thinks the horse will be a runner this afternoon as well. Luis Saez jumps back on board. So again, looking at that race last time, I just tilted in this direction. Scotty Brown in the second spot. The races 2 and 3 back down at Gulfstream were pretty good. Came up to face State Breds last time. Threw in a little bit of a clunker. I just think the horse is better than that. Moves into the barn of Wesley Ward. Let's look for a rebound at maybe a little bit of a price. And Veterans Beach. I was on board this one for the career debut in Saratoga in 2018 at 9-1. That was the lone win of the career, but I timed it right nicely to get the $20 there. Subsequently, again, hasn't visited the winner's circle, but it's been in the mix more often than not, so I'll put that one in today too. 6-5, 1-4.
Well, we're not too far off the same page. I like Veterans Beach, but I put Merrow, the 7 horse, on top. And this horse had a lot of tries, took him 14 starts to finally break his maiden. But coming back and running so well at the allowance condition after finally getting the maiden victory, and I thought ran a winning race that day, maybe just a touch unlucky. Bobby Rovato having a terrific meeting, won the stake the other day with Pulsate. I think this horse could get enough pace to set up his late run, and I saw a little bit of a flyer. He's 6-1. I put him on top. King Angelo second. He's fast. He's good. He's talented. I thought, though, he might be confronted with some pressure and maybe could make him ripe to just get picked off late. And the 1 Veterans Beach inside draw, Irad Ortiz for Christophe Clement, like inside draws, turf racing, and I think he should be sitting right in behind that pace and could pounce if he gets a run.
And again, Irad Ortiz on board as that Jockey race did tighten up a little bit for the last couple of days of the meet. It's going to be fun to watch and see how that plays out with 24 races still to go. Yeah. Rich, absolutely appreciate it. We got the play of the day coming up, but I'll cut you loose here because I know you got a production meeting for the show. And again, I will applaud you and everybody involved with the Fox show. That's been a lot of fun this summer. You guys do a great job, and I look forward to getting your further comments on the racing this afternoon on the show, but appreciate the visit this morning.
Oh, thank you. It was fun. It was great to be here, and hope people tune in Saratoga Live today.
Very good. Richard Migliore, today's guest handicapper. We'll take a break. Anthony Stabile with the play of the day coming up. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Albany County, an incredible destination to live, work, and play, with easy connections to more than a dozen cities from our vibrant modern airport. It's a short trip downtown to a hive of culture and amusement, from world-class shows at the newly renovated Times Union Center to reliving the past at the New York State Museum. From outdoor recreation to shopping to nightlife, Albany County has something for everyone. We'll see you soon.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. In front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Bob. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish to the top. Here's the winner. Photo finish.
The Capital Region has some of the most sophisticated horse racing fans in the country. That's why Capital OTB built the Clubhouse Racebook. Here you can wager year-round on the best horse racing from around the world. The Clubhouse also has monthly promotions including live bankrolls, handicapping contests, and so much more. Like sports? Watch your favorite teams on more than 30 screens in Legends Field Sports Grill. Food, sports, and the excitement of championship horse racing only at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
At DePaula, we think of our customers as family, so we want your experience to be fair and easy. Family owned since 1980, DePaula means quality and convenience, along with concerned and certified technicians. So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs. At DePaula, we think of our customers as family, so we want your experience to be fair and easy. Over $2 million in original factory parts means you receive the very best for any make or model. So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
It's post time for today's DePaula Play of the Day.
Morning, everyone. Big A here. Today's DePaula Play of the Day comes in race number 9. The Better Talk Now. Boy, what a good turf horse. Great stakes horse he was. Wolfie's Dynago. Speaking of great turf horses, Sadler's Joy. Recently sold to Turkey to stand stud. His half-brother, Wolfie's Dynago, is going to make his second turf start. No Chance Trip, first time on the lawn. Last time out, looking for a little bit of better racing luck. This afternoon, it's a wide open Better Talk Now. Wolfie's Dynago is 8-1 on the morning line. We're going to try and get him home today as the DePaula Play of the Day.
Welcome back. There was no countdown again. Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Thanks to Richard Migliore for sitting in this morning. A lot of fun. Up next, it's going to be Loose on the Lead with my partner Steve Vick, who's coming to sit in. But we'll wrap up the Handicappers Report for today. You're not late. I'm just wrapping up the previous show. Coming up today at the Clubhouse Racebook, a pick floor and a match bet promotion. Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. The show pool today, you still have time to put your name in for that. We'll see if I can, there's no way I'm going to get to the 2,900 again this week, but we'll try to make some money with the show pool. So put your name in the hat and try to get on the show pool team for this afternoon. Don't forget the low roller contest over here on the front side. Go to the 4-Star Dave area. That's where they sign up, the old carousel area. $40, $10 into the prize pool, $30 on your card. You make 5 $2 win place and show bets during the afternoon. It's a lot of fun. If you're up at the top, you cash in and get a nice prize as well. And as I've always said, it introduces you to the tournament part of the game, and we do the tourney bets on capitalotb.com all year long. So, and we'll talk a little NHC with Steve in a moment as well. He was out in Vegas last year. Maybe you can work your way up from low rollers to absolute high rollers out in Vegas. That's always the game plan. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. As I wrap it up, though, I will give a shout out to Haley. I saw Haley over at Ciro's last night, and she said she always watches the show, and I said, well, I'm going to give you a shout out. So
there it is.
Doing a shout out.
Show parlay. Let's just roll right into the show.
We're not going.
It's a show parlay.
I got to wrap this up, and then we formally start. So I will wrap up the Handicappers Report. We'll take a break. We will be back with my partner Steve Beck back in Saratoga. Stay tuned. Loose on the Lead. It's up next.
You've been watching the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.